welcome back to my channel. So today we're here to talk about the Sigma Dry and Shape Tower. As you can see, it's pretty big. This is actually comes in two pieces. This top piece with the three is actually the eyepiece, and you can have that on its own. That's the eye tower, and that's the face and eyes. So this is two separate towers. If you need that many brushes or you want it to be spaced out rather than on top, you can have it that way. I've not used it yet, but the basic idea is that you slip your brushes in these holders here, and these elastic pieces here will go around the bristles and help dry them out and shape them. Dry and shape tower. So I've got here in front of me a bunch of freshly washed brushes. I don't know if there's a methodical way of doing this, so I'm just going to pick them up and shove them in as I get them. Let's see how we get along. So obviously this is built for Sigma brushes, so these should just slide in fairly easily. I feel like it might be something that gets easier with practice because this feels really odd. There's the first one. And now this is obviously a really fat brush. You look at the handle thickness in comparison to a Sigma brush, it's pretty fat, so I'm going to go for one of the fatter holes. Oh no, that is so annoying. Now we're just on bristles here, and I'm just going to hopefully snap that in place. And that actually didn't take much force. It feels like these are pretty flexible, so I don't feel at all that it would break. If anything was going to break, maybe the brush, the amount I was shoving it in there, but it's in. It's good. In the instructions it does say insert the brush through the tightest elastic band for optimal drying results, ensuring the brush head is fully placed into the band. Lastly, snap the brush handle into the Sigma snap for a secure hold. Now let's go ahead and just squeeze in all the others. This is my next fattest one, so I'm going to try and get all the fat ones out of the way first. By comparison, that went in much easier. Well done, Sigma. These are great for your own brushes. See, this is the difference. These matte handled ones go to a straight point. The more shiny ones go to a broader end. These are the problem ones. So this is my last one. I really don't know if this is going to work. It's a Nude by Nature kabuki brush. I know quite a few brands have these little kabuki brushes. I'm going to try maneuver it without any handle to get through the elasticated part. I don't think this is going to happen. But here I am, still trying. I do want to say though that these elastic bands seem to be really well attached to the plastic. I don't feel as though if I pull too hard they're going to come out. Okay, we have our miniature kabuki in there. It's this dreaded Real Techniques brush ruining everything. Old metals brush. Good. Okay, so I think I've got 3 brushes left. It seems to be quite hard to snap it in when you've got other brushes around it, so I'm going to try and slide it in, but then you've got no room to sort of grip your fingers. And I may be able to get away with just sitting that on top like that. Okay, so first impressions of this first layer. The design is very, very clever. I wouldn't say that it's a flawless design. Next layer. The one problem I'm having here is as I'm feeding it through, I am scraping the brushes against the ones at the bottom. I can take this off and reattach it when I'm done. I think this is going to be a lot easier to do. Already working up to the top layer. Okay, so I think that's that entire section full. Now I'm going to reattach this, if I can, to the base. Put the remainder of my brushes up here and see how this works out. Okay, so I've finished putting all the brushes into the tower. So I'm going to start with the negatives. These brushes I could not put in there. It wouldn't fit in the elastic because it's a fan brush, but then it's too fat to put in the eye brushes up here, and then there's no room for the bristles, so it's no good for fan brushes. These kinds of brushes, there's not enough small grips. There is spaces here, but as soon as you put one in, it just slides down and then it's sitting on the bristles. Obviously you don't want that. Another negative, I found there weren't enough bigger spaces because there's quite a difference between a face brush and then the kind of brushes that are going to fit in here. The only other negative I would say is it can be hard to maneuver the brushes in and out, particularly when it gets more full. Those are my negatives. Positives are, really this was built for Sigma brushes. If I'd used purely Sigma brushes, I'd probably have no problems. And so that kind of vetoes all of my negatives about this. Equally, this is like the fattest brush. You saw me struggle with it and fight with it, but it does fit. If it's in the grip, if it's in the elastic, it does fit eventually. The thing is, it's unrealistic to expect every single brush that is in existence to fit in one drying tower. So you do have that. If I did split them into two towers, I could then slot this in and it would be fine. So again, that does veto all of my negatives. There they are. And there you have your own DIY extra level. I've probably spent a good half hour, if not longer, putting them all in here. Bearing in mind this is the first time I've actually really used it. I have a few sets that I have on my makeup counter, and then I have two small sets that I always keep in my gym bag. So I don't always tend to wash them at the same time. So if I just wash my gym brushes, which I will probably do alternating weeks to when I wash my normal brushes, then I'd probably have absolutely no problem fitting them all in. And if you have double, triple these amount of brushes, well obviously you're going to have to get multiple towers. For the price, it does work out cheaper to buy the full set than two individuals. So far I'm actually, I mean, the way this looks, it's much cooler than, I normally lay this out and I'll lay something underneath it so the handles can lie downwards, and so this is much more improved. I mean, it did take me a long time to put them on here. They are perfectly okay laying down. You've seen my other video, which I'll link down below, showing how I do clean them with this. Having these kinds of tools are not necessary. They're not an everyday essential for your average makeup user. I'd say this is a real gimmick, but if you have got quite a lot of brushes, and particularly if you're a makeup artist and you need your brushes to be clean and dried the very next day, I can see why this is such a great investment. I'm kind of in love with it. So I'll see you soon. Oh.